So you've heard it before, right? Not all managers are leaders. And on today's show, we're exploring that and what it really means to lead an organization. And you'll learn what works and what doesn't work as often. Join us now to share more on this topic. And you give quite a few highlights from your book, Leadership and Culture, Why Managers Fail and Leaders Prevail. Authors, husband and wife team, and the founders of the consulting firm, Greenleaf Leadership, John and Katie McCann. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Okay, I love the husband and wife dynamic because you don't always get that, right? Especially when it comes to business and things like that. So this book, tell us what inspired you to read it and what it means. There's 5 essential leadership skills for creating a culture of belonging that drives performance and loyalty within your organization. So what inspired you as a husband and wife duo to write this book?
Well, a few years ago, we saw a pretty significant shift in the mindset of so many people working their corporate jobs. It used to be where people, would go in and give it their all. And that was, kind of the mindset that they had. But then it started kind of shifting where people felt like they were giving so much time and so much energy to a company that really didn't care that much about them. And I think that's when we started seeing the whole quiet quitting thing start, where people were really just doing the bare minimum and they had the mindset of, I'm not going to give anything more than I absolutely have to get my paycheck. And so leaders having a team of people who feel this way is really just not great for the company or the organization in general. So I think a lot of companies were really struggling trying to figure out how to move past this quiet quitting and getting people into the mindset of wanting to do a good job and wanting to really feel important in the organization. And so for John and I, it was pretty clear that it was a culture issue, that a lot of these people who had that quiet quitting mindset were really not feeling like they belonged to the culture of the organization, or the company didn't have a really great culture where they felt like they belonged. So, as business owners ourselves, we understand the importance of valuing employees and valuing the people on our team. So we wanted to kind of create a book and put it out there so that other leaders could help understand that the organization really needs a positive culture in order to have a successful business.
And John, what are some key reasons that managers fail?
I think a lot of managers fail. There's probably a ton of reasons, but the ones that I've seen probably over my tenure, probably one of the biggest ones is most people don't really want to be in a manager position to begin with. I feel like as a culture, we groom people. They go to work, they get a job, they feel like they have to take a promotion. That's just what they're supposed to do. They don't really want to be a leader. They don't want to be a manager. Companies promote within a lot of times, which is a really great, effective tool to retain people. But just because you're really good at doing something does not mean you're going to be really good at leading somebody doing that. Another thing that I have seen is monetary increases seem to be a driving factor. A lot of people I've seen even looking for jobs, or they don't even look at the job responsibility. They just go in and how much am I going to make? What's the benefits? They have the mindset that once I become a manager or a leader, I don't really have to do anything, when it's exactly the opposite. They have to do so much more. A lot of times companies of different sizes, when they become a manager or a leader, they're now in charge of people that they used to hang out with on a regular basis. The social aspect, they have a really hard time distancing that. They can't hold their friends accountable anymore. They end up doing a lot more work than they were supposed to, and that can really have a negative effect across the team. And probably the biggest reason I see too is just a real lack of higher level support. Somebody gets promoted, they get thrown into a leadership position for whatever reason that it is, and then they're just left out there to swim, sink or swim, basically. They don't have anybody above them that actually mentors them, that checks in on them, that holds them accountable to see how they're actually doing. Because being a leader is a lot of extra stresses that you don't necessarily have, and that can take a toll. So having that support system above you that's checking in on you, seeing how your mental health is, how you're doing, is crucial as well.
And Katie, how have you seen the role of managers and leaders evolve just within the recent years?
Yeah, I feel like there's been a pretty significant shift. So, I think that leaders are understanding that employee satisfaction is a priority and something that should be taken seriously, where in the past, I feel like it was more employees would, whatever the boss says, that's what you do. You don't ask questions. That's it. But I think that the true leaders are actually evolving now to understand that it's really important to have their employees and their team involved in the decision-making processes. So, somebody who's doing the job every day might have a better perspective than somebody at the top who's really only looking at the numbers or the processes in general, not the nitty-gritty. So, we've seen success where leaders are asking questions and involving the frontline people in the change process. And so when people are part of that change, when they are actually involved in making the changes and creating it, then they have a lot more ownership in it. And so they're going to, really want to make those changes happen, as opposed to, just being told, okay, now we're going to do it this way without any real explanation. I mean, people are inherently, they don't like change, but if they're part of the process and they understand why the change and they get to be a part of, how, then they're really going to be, there's going to be a lot more buy-in and a lot more success overall. So I think the leaders who really are doing a good job understand that aspect of it, and that, having the employees and their team involved in the processes really helps with the buy-in.
Katie, when you think of, the people who are buying your book and reading it, what are the biggest takeaways you want them to walk away with?
Yeah, I think it really is understanding that having a great culture within the company is what's going to make the company successful. It's not just, the people who do the job every day, but it's understanding that they are the ones who make your company successful. And so in our book, we talk about, how Wells Fargo, they had a big scandal and how they were really pushing their employees to cross-sell. And so they started acting unethically. And even the managers and the managers knew what was happening, but did nothing about it because they wanted to meet the goals. And so that was something that was across the culture, where it was a culture of negativity and a culture of, do anything you can to get the business. And that's not the type of company that's going to be successful. The company that's going to be successful is a company that's really authentic and that treats their employees well. And then the employees translate that to their customers. So it really is the driving force of success.
John, Katie, any final thoughts for us today?
Do you have anything?
Not that I can think of. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the quotes that I really like is, as a leader, is teach people how to think and not what to think. So if people can really learn and understand, how to solve a problem, then you're not the one who always has to tell them what to do. So kind of stepping back, letting people get into that problem solving mindset where they take ownership of their role, and just know that they're always learning and we're always learning.
John and Katie McCann, authors, founders of Greenleaf Leadership. Thanks so much for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.